Refined, it's much more than a makeover.
This is gonna be interesting. Like, I'm excited and nervous.
Meet the makeup artist who helps the transgender feel beautiful on the outside like they do on the inside. Plus, Refined travels to a small town east of the Cascades that feels out of this world.
All right, so just look right in here, huh?
Yes.
Holy smokes, that's just Saturn. It's right there.
We promise you won't look at the stars the same again. And 700 miles on just one tank? It sounds crazy, but it's just a taste of what you could see at this weekend's Seattle Auto Show. Seattle Refined starts now. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Seattle Refined. I'm Gert Swanson. You know, the more we put ourselves in other people's shoes, the easier it is for us to understand the feelings of others. In the U.S. alone, get this, nearly 1.5 million people identify as transgender. And as Refined's Malia Karlinski shows us, a local makeup artist is helping create a safe space for people to find their true selves.
A colorful palette and a bundle of brushes. They're the tools of the trade for Carla Petrulli.
You could say that skin is just a different canvas than, say, if you were a painter, but it's a similar conversation. You get to decide what to enhance, what to bring forward.
Carla is a makeup artist. With each brushstroke, she's applying cosmetics to the skin. But she's also helping clients discover and uncover their deeper, authentic selves.
But I would say that 80% of my business is my work with trans women and men who cross-dress. And I feel like I can provide an experience for them that really is in support of who they want to be.
At Sorella Photography Studio in Seattle, Monica Hawkinson is getting ready for her session.
I've been feeling really good about my transition.
It's been about 3 years since she started her journey, but she's known that she wanted to for decades.
I think it was probably when I was early teens, 13 or 14, something like that. But it was not within what was possible for me, so I buried it. And then when I was 40, it finally became possible for me. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it now.
And now, as Monica, she's getting the skills to do something most women do every day.
I still haven't really learned makeup. It was one of those things where I was like, okay, I'm going to do all the other stuff. I'm realizing now that it's like, okay, I need to learn this.
Perfect.
Photographer Erica Sharetta snaps a before picture. Then Carla gets to work.
What I want for Monica today is for her to feel celebrated and honored, and to have a new way of seeing herself inside of makeup.
This is going to be interesting. Like, I'm excited and nervous. I really trust Carla.
Well, thank you.
Then, the big moment.
You ready to have a look?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
For Monica, getting made up is not about concealing, but revealing.
This is the icing on the cake. Like, okay, I've been doing awesome so far, and this is just that extra step.
Perfect. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Nice. Go ahead, Carla. Gorgeous, Monica. You're doing perfect.
If I get to help somebody else show up inside of who they want to be and what they want to say to the world with their appearance, then when they win, I win. And that's really how it works.
Malia Karlinski, Seattle Refined.
To learn more about that story or watch it again, check out our website. Changing gears now to the ramen shop that's blowing up on refined.com. Dining Guide Zagat just named Bet Sutenjin Ramen, now if I mispronounced it, my apologies, as one of the hottest 15 restaurants in the U.S. In addition to ramen, the Japanese-style shop up on Capitol Hill also serves up dumplings and a mean lobster salad. The menu is small, but said to be super tasty. One of the area's most popular watering holes is teeing off a new location. The Flatstick Pub is opening up a third bar in South Lake Union next year. Flatstick is, of course, the bar where you can drink beer while playing miniature golf. The new location will also feature an expanded menu, more interactive games, and something called Duffel Board. Look for it next spring. It's not every day you get invited to view the sunset by hot air balloon. But that's exactly the offer we got from the folks at Seattle Ballooning, and our roving photojournalist Cy Bean jumped at the chance. Riders get to sip champagne as their balloon glides over the White River. It's definitely something to mark off your bucket list. You can see Cy's spectacular gallery on the website. Washington also boasts one of the best places in the entire U.S. to explore the heavens. Amateur stargazers come far and wide to Goldendale to take advantage of one of the largest telescopes in the nation. And as Refined's John Prentice explains, the views are spectacular.
Located just over the Cascade Mountains near the banks of the Columbia River, Goldendale, Washington is another world. The small town is flanked by stunning vistas in every direction, and it sure is beautiful.
Well, this is one of the most fantastic areas in the state of Washington, actually in the Pacific Northwest region. So you have Mount Adams to the north, you've got Mount Hood just on the other side of the river down the Columbia.
Lem Pratt from Washington State Park says there are plenty of places to camp, hike, and take in the scenery around here, but some of the most spectacular sights in Goldendale can only be seen after the sun sets. From the Goldendale Observatory, it's not your average state park. Troy Carpenter runs the joint.
This is an unusual place because the public observatory, and those are not common. It's also unusual because it has a large telescope that you might expect to be associated with a research facility because it's so big, and you actually get to look through it.
So just how big is this telescope? Troy says it's one of the 3 largest telescopes in the world, open to the public. It was built by a group of science buffs back in the 70s to take full advantage of Goldendale's nearly ever-present clear skies and bountiful darkness.
How dark does it get out here in Goldendale?
It gets dark enough that you can easily see the Milky Way from horizon to horizon.
Wow.
Okay, so it's dark enough out here to see almost anything in the cosmos, but how far can I see with this telescope? Time to find out.
Troy, what is this? I feel like I'm on like the set of Star Trek or something.
I like that, I was going for that. Yeah, so this is actually an accurate simulation of the sky right now.
So we can see anything on this map?
Yeah.
Can we go to Saturn?
Saturn's a very popular target, so I'm going to select it. Here we go.
Engage. Troy tells the telescope to look for Saturn, and as if by magic, the Goliath spyglass starts to rotate and pivot, searching for everyone's favorite rain gas giant, Saturn.
All right, so just look right in here, huh?
Yes.
Holy smokes, that's just Saturn. It's right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. How far away is that?
It's almost 1 billion miles tonight specifically. It's almost 1 billion miles. And you're looking back in time about 87 minutes.
This is awesome.
Yes. That's how long it took the light to be here.
The rings, they're spectacular.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for letting me come down here. This is super cool.
No problem, that's what we do.
John Prentice, Seattle, Refined.
The Goldendale Observatory is open to the public year-round, and the best part, it's free. For more details, head to SeattleRefined.com. Seattle Refined is just getting started. Music to our ears. A local composer who's behind some of our favorite films is putting on a special symphony that is tugging at our heartstrings. But first,
you look to make the car basically better in every way.
we aren't driving flying cars yet, but the auto future is pretty cool. A sneak peek at what could be becoming down the road soon. But first, the nominations are in. Now it's time to vote in the first ever So Northwest Awards Fall Edition. We are honoring the best of autumn around Western Washington. Everything from the best soup, to the best red wine, to the school with the most spirit. When you vote, also enter for a chance to win a grand prize. That includes 2 tickets to see the Nutcracker at the Pacific Northwest Ballet, and a one-night stay at the Alexis Hotel in the P&B Suite. Go to SeattleRefined.com/fall awards for voting guidelines and complete contest rules. Welcome back to the show. I'm Gert Swanson. You know, we're just a few days away from one of the biggest events for Northwest car lovers. Our sponsor, Seattle International Auto Show, presented by State Farm, opens its doors to the public this Friday. And not only will you be able to see the newest and the coolest cars for sale, you'll also get a glimpse of the future. Here's Nick Miles.
What will the car of the future look like? I'm Nick Miles, and at this year's Seattle Auto Show, there will be lots of cars of the future, including new powertrains and new technologies.
what will be the predominant power of the future. We still may be a long way from the flying car, but we're not too far away from the autonomous car or the mass-produced hydrogen car. Elements of the autonomous car are already on sale in some of today's new vehicles, and you can check them out at this year's Seattle Auto Show. Hyundai's new Ioniq comes in 3 flavors: electric, hybrid, and plug-in hybrid. Coming this fall, the new Ioniq Blue delivers an astonishing 58 miles a gallon for under $23,000 starting.
You look to make the car basically better, better in every way, whether it be fuel efficiency, ride and handling, the features that are offered, the safety of the vehicle. Just make it, that's one of our mantras, is make it better, and that's definitely what we have done.
You can get a 690-mile range. It's packed with safety, with autonomous emergency braking and pedestrian detect.
Hyundai have been working on some very cool, efficient EVs, but they're not the only ones.
The Chevy Bolt rocked the non-luxury electric world last year with a starting price of under $37,000 before incentives and a range of 238 miles on a single charge with a fuel economy of 128 mpge. What's new is the explosion of hybrid and plug-in hybrid SUVs on the market. Check out the #1 selling third-row luxury SUV of all time at this year's show, the Acura MDX for 2018.
Now, you might not be able to afford an NSX like this in your driveway. However, the technology from the NSX has made it into Acura's new MDX Hybrid, which has super handling all-wheel drive and is ready for any Northwest winter.
This year, the MDX gets a new red color, 2 actually, and updated user interface with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. On the diesel side, there are 2 big hitters, the Range Rover Velar diesel and the Chevy Cruze diesel. They have outstanding fuel economy and can save you up to 40% at the pump.
But what's new on the technology front this year?
In infotainment, Ford have added Sync 3 that uses Amazon Alexa to their vehicles. Start your car with Alexa right from your home. You'll be able to listen to books via Amazon in the car and control home apps like the garage door just by using voice commands. Safety becomes much more advanced in cars. Mercedes have 2 new features that will save lives. Select Mercedes models have a safety feature that can deploy the side airbag before an impact if it thinks a side impact is imminent. It moves the driver away from the impact zone and will lessen injuries and fatalities from T-bone accidents by up to 30%. Mercedes also introduced something called pink noise. Just before an airbag deploys in an accident, the vehicle will generate a sound called pink noise. That will close the inner ear, protecting you from ear damage from the bang when the bag deploys, saving occupants from confusion after the accident.
The amount of technologies will astound you on the floor of this year's Seattle Auto Show. Nick Miles, Seattle Refined.
The Seattle International Auto Show opens this Friday and runs through the weekend at the CenturyLink Field Event Center. Coming up on Refined.
Whoa, like this is serious, and thrilling and exciting at the same time.
They barely knew each other, but find out why these 2 strangers are now connected for life. Welcome back to Seattle Refined. I'm Gert Swanson. It's been said, music soothes the soul, but a local organization believes music can also heal and lend a hand to local families battling and living with pediatric cancer. Grammy-winning composer Matteo Messina is behind a unique benefit concert, and he stopped by the Refined studio to explain. I'm glad you're here, right? So before we get into the big event at Benaroya Hall, let's talk a little bit about you and your background, because your resume runs deep, especially down in Hollywood.
Yeah, I basically write music for films and television. Started doing it at least a decade ago, probably about 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite things is I live here in Seattle and commute down there for all my meetings, but that means I can hire all Seattle musicians to play on these big films and these shows, and it's a lot of fun.
There it is. Little pink plus sign is so unholy.
And then you won a Grammy, right? Or no,
Yeah.
a Grammy for Juno. Wow.
Yeah, that was a real beloved. That was just a surprise film. I remember actually calling my folks from the Toronto Film Festival and saying, hey, there's this little art house film. I think it's going to play at that Seven Gables Theater
right.
kind of thing. And then that thing just went boom and it mushroom clouded and kind of launched all our careers. And
of course, George Clooney, Up in the Air. You wrote music for that?
Yeah, I wrote music on that. I do a lot of music for Jason Reitman, that director's films. I'll do different iterations of things.
Yeah.
So.
And I would imagine that all that Hollywood stuff you'd put to the side, because what you're doing for Children's Hospital and raising money for these kids, talk about a little about your event, because it's so important.
This coming Friday, November 10th, I'm going to do my Symphony number 20, which these are not typical symphonies at all. And they're wildly different. I've had the Pike Place fishmongers throwing fish on the stage. I've had a barista from Starbucks make a cup of coffee.
Nice.
I've marched the entire UW drum line down the aisles. I mean, we do crazy things at them, and they're really theatrical and fun. And we do it all to raise money for kids and families going through treatment at Seattle Children's. So it goes to Uncompensated Care Fund, and also to this incredible research headed up by Dr. Michael Jensen. That's if you've seen Strong Against Cancer, or where you see Russell Wilson.
Right.
It's that same research. It's at a 93% success rate of curing kids of leukemia right now. And I've been volunteering at the hospital for about 20 years. And I've said this to so many students when I'm in classes. I go, look, I know there's this career in Hollywood and it looks really sexy. It doesn't even compare to how this volunteerism fills my heart.
Right.
And working with these kids and helping them tell their stories, like through songs. So we write songs about bees and dogs and farts, and we forget about cancer, but in the end, they're telling me their story through song and through art, and it's beautiful.
And you perform with some of the patients on stage, right, at the Better Royal Hall.
Yeah, so what I'll do is every year I pick one of the kids to come join me in the concert hall, and we write the song together, and then I write for the orchestra to back them, and sometimes a big choir. So it's usually a little kid up there with like 200 musicians behind them singing their song with them, and out into this audience of a couple thousand people, and it's always very melty.
All right, Mateo Messina, thank you for joining us today, and what a deal you got going on, so important.
Oh, thanks so much. It's good to see you again, Gert.
You too. The Northwest Symphony Orchestra will perform Mateo's latest composition this Friday at Better Royal Hall. For ticket information or learn more, log on to our website. We'll be right back. But first, Seattle Refined and Star 101.5 are teaming up to give you a chance to win tickets to the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. The Holiday Rockers will play 2 shows at Key Arena November 25th. Every day this week, we'll show you a different song title. Today's is Wizards in Winter. Next, listen to Star at 3:45 for your cue to call. Be the 10th caller with the correct song to win a pair of tickets. Plus, we'll also pick a grand prize winner who will get to watch the concert from their own private suite. See complete rules at star101.5.com/contests. If you have... Welcome back to Refined. I'm Gert Swanson. Heroes come in all shapes and sizes. Sometimes they are larger than life. Sometimes they look like the guy or gal next door. And in some cases, they can almost be complete strangers.
People always ask me, were you friends? And I said, well, we knew each other. And they said, well, are you close? And I said, well, we are now.
Jonathan Cohen and Jen Feldman are both members of the same synagogue congregation, Beth Israel, in Northwest Portland. But a year ago, they were merely acquaintances who bumped into each other at Sunday school during her yearly Taste of Temple fundraiser. Then one day, Jonathan read a letter from Jen, sent to Temple members. She needed a kidney donor. Her family didn't qualify to donate, and she had to reach out to strangers. Jonathan wanted to help.
The second that I don't know what it was, but I think I turned to my wife after I hung up the call to kind of say I was interested. I was like, oh, it's going to be me.
But he didn't even know if he was a match. For Jen, who lost one kidney to cancer 20 years ago, and whose other kidney was failing fast, time was not on her side.
It really was a life and death situation for Jen. She really was down to the very last. They said, hey, good news, you've passed all the tests, you're a match. We just have to get approval and you can donate. And by the way, you're the only match. And so that was like, really gave me chills, like, whoa, like this is serious, and thrilling and exciting at the same time.
The transplant was a success.
I truly feel a miracle has happened in my life.
As Jen says, getting Jonathan's kidney added days to her life.
That I wake up every morning and think about, and I go to bed every night thinking about that someone gave me a living organ to put in my body to save my life.
All right, that's going to do it for today's show. I'm Gert Swanson. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time right here on Seattle Refined.